Hello.
You should know the story. Okay, here we go.
So we meet this kid, Benjamin Gates, and his grandpa is telling him that his great-great-grandpa was given a clue to find the greatest treasure the world has ever known because the President of the United States wasn't home.
Wait a second, never happened to me.
So he was just as important as the president?
No, he was a stable boy, just slightly less important than the president.
How about now?
But he gave it to him, and then he died. And what does this genius and all of his descendants do knowing that they have the only remaining clue to the most priceless treasure ever imagined? They tell everyone.
6 generations of fools.
But wasn't it supposed to be a secret?
It's at a point that to where anyone in Washington hears their name, they're like, oh, you're one of those weirdo treasure conspiracy nut gates.
You're that family with the conspiracy theory about the founding fathers?
But as Grandpa's telling this to Ben, his dad comes in and says that he's not going to let his son waste his life looking to get rich quick. But Grandpa says that it's never been about the money. But I'm willing to bet old Tommy Gates was thinking about that money while he was at work shoveling horse shit.
Horse shit!
And let's not forget that the past 6 generations of the Gates family haven't even figured out the first clue.
And that'll lead you to another clue.
Prove it.
I wasted 20 years of my life.
If you consider failure experience.
Why can't they just say go to this place and here's the treasures?
And then it takes Ben another 30 years to figure it out. See, Ben found this guy Riley who figured out the weather conditions and the ship's path with dead-ass accuracy exactly where the ship got stuck in the ice.
Hey, I found it!
And Ben just happens to find the evidence he needs to confirm their discovery right away.
Well, I'm going to get straight to the point.
And then after digging up the deck of the ship, Ben takes a break to thank their investor Ian for paying for the trip, because no one would be excited about finding a treasure worth billions. But the ship is holding nothing but gunpowder, except one barrel that has a pipe in it.
Did Bigfoot take it?
So Ben does the natural thing and breaks it apart right there on this freezing ship and bleeds on it.
I was a little drunk, plus I was horny.
This contains another clue, and since it took Ben 30 years to figure out the first clue, he figures out that there's a map on the back of the Declaration of Independence in like 2 minutes.
Just like that? Just like that.
And Ian's like, let's go steal it. But Ben's like, you can't just storm the Capitol. That's dumb.
We can take that place!
But Ian really wants to break into a government building with guns, like an idiot. So his number 2, Shaw, pulls out a gun in a room full of gunpowder, like an idiot. And to stop them, Ben pulls out a flare and says there's one more riddle, but then stupidly throws the flare at him and blows up the ship.
But what if there's something else on that ship that they're going to need?
Shut up. They're not going to put multiple clues in one place. That would just be stupid.
Common sense, how appropriate.
Luckily, the gunpowder took a while to get to the barrels, so Ian and his men were able to get to a safe distance.
So Ben and Riley died?
No, they shut a wooden door between them and the explosion, so they're fine. And after not freezing to death, they go tell a few government agencies that Ian and a bunch of armed people are going to break into a building in the middle of DC. But they all say that nobody would be that stupid.
Do they know something we don't?
So the only place left to go is the National Archives, and they tell this doctor, Abigail Chase, what Ian is up to. They're all, if you let us see if there's an invisible map on the back of the Declaration of Independence, the guy who won't know that you let us look won't steal it.
That's right.
She doesn't believe him either, which makes Ben realize that they have to steal the Declaration themselves, so Ian can't steal it.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
That's dumb!
And all of this would have been much easier if they would have just got a grant saying that they know the location of the Charlotte, a ship that's been missing for 200 years, and then they could have just shown somebody the clue and involved the government with their search. But they ruined their name by talking about the treasure too much.
I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that.
But they've also never told anybody else the clue. Otherwise, it wouldn't have taken 180 years for somebody to realize that it was a boat.
Well, I could be wrong, but I believe
The Charlotte.
is an old wooden ship.
You mean she was a ship?
See? I told you. They were all idiots.
So now they need to plan a heist. And not just any heist. One that some of the most powerful government agencies in the world say is impossible. And these guys are complete amateurs.
Oh, I didn't know that, really.
They go to the Library of Congress and pull up all sorts of information on the security protocols and building schematics with no one batting an eye. And they're able to plan this super impossible robbery in like an hour.
So they go tell the FBI what they figured out so they can protect it for real now.
No, they just get the information they need to steal it.
The only way to protect the Declaration is to steal it.
They also need a password and some fingerprints with somebody who has access to the preservation room. Ben remembers that when he was in her office, that Abigail was missing a button in a collection, and he just happens to have the missing one. So he soaks it in invisible ink and hopes that she doesn't wash her hands before going downstairs. And they're really lucky that she never learned how to type, and instead pecks at the keyboard with a finger that was definitely covered in ink, while her coworker pretends not to check out her ass.
I want to be friends with it.
And while this is happening, Riley has to shine a laser pointer on the display case to make it seem like it's malfunctioning. They do manage to get those events timed right, but since the gala's tonight, these techs would probably be told to work overtime to get the case fixed and back upstairs for the party.
You're working late tonight! I can't! I got therapy!
If he really wanted to protect it, he could have had Riley trip a sensor, and then Ian would have blasted in and stole the copy that's on display, walking right past the real one. And since he would have a fake that's good enough to fool the whole crowd, he would do the test on that one and think that Ben was full of shit.
That is one big pile of shit.
I know.
But they don't, so Ben's able to just walk in dressed as a janitor, strip in the bathroom, and get Abigail's prints off a champagne glass.
I'm so getting fired for this.
He gets down to the preservation room where the Declaration of Independence is just sitting out on a table with a blanket on it.
Why wouldn't they put it in the vault until somebody's ready to fix it?
Look, they covered it with a blanket. That's good enough.
It's invisible.
Anyway, Riley loses the video feed, so he's gotta get out quick. Ian comes in, and Shaw immediately starts shooting at him, but Ben gets in the elevator in time not to get shot. On the ride up, Ben gets the Declaration out of its luckily bulletproof case and carefully puts it in a plastic bag not to damage it.
Because it's important?
He has to hide from Abigail, so he goes into the gift shop, since all these high-end donors might want a keychain or some shit, and the minimum wage cashier accuses the seemingly wealthy man of stealing a poster of the Declaration.
Are you trying to steal that?
Well, something about Ben's toast made Abigail question why he was there.
To high treason.
So, he sounds pretty damn normal.
So she checked the guest list to find out that he's not on it. She then sees him leaving in a hurry and chases him down. He gives her the Declaration, but Ian sees her and kidnaps her. And because they both think she's hot, they end up in a slow, crappy van chase through DC where there's very little traffic. Ben manages to get Abigail back, but Ian has the Declaration. Or so he thinks. Because Ben pulled a sneaky and bought an extra fake Declaration just in case somebody stopped him on the 30-foot walk back to the van.
You owe me $35 plus tax.
Fortunately, that worked, but unfortunately, he used his credit card to buy it, so now he can't go to his house where they had a sterile room set up to look at it.
Oh yeah, because this was always about protecting it and not wanting to do tests on it or anything.
We're more like treasure protectors.
They also don't have the copies of the Silenced Do-Good letters that he had there as well, but those were made from the originals that his dad has.
Why would his dad have those letters?
These letters were written by Benjamin Franklin.
The Gates family collected anything and everything involving the Founding Fathers, including letters a young Ben Franklin wrote to a newspaper pretending to be an old widow because his brother wouldn't let a 14-year-old publish in his paper. You know, because you never know if you're going to use those to guide you to the most valuable treasure of all time.
It's a clue.
His dad also has a giant bowl of lemons in his refrigerator, so they're able to look at the invisible ink on the back of the Declaration.
Abigail is just on board with all this now.
Not at first.
You can't do that.
But she lets him do a test strip, and when that works, she's like, oh, this thing is gonna smell so good when we're done.
The good news is you're starting not to smell like a foot anymore.
And when they are done, they duct tape his dad to a chair and steal his car because they need to get to Philadelphia, where Patrick donated the Silenced Do-Good letters.
Wait, you mean that Ben and Riley go to Philadelphia while Abigail puts the Declaration of Independence back, right?
No, they have to keep the most valuable document in America with them just in case there's another clue. And now that Abigail saw the cipher, she wants to treasure hunt too.
But now that she knows that they're for real, if they came to her with any clues, she could help them from inside the archives.
Just shut up and let them treasure hunt.
She really can't shut her mouth, can she?
And since this is the next clue in a scavenger hunt worth billions, they have Riley pay a child to get the letters from the Ottendorf cipher while Ben and Abigail go shopping.
I know, we kind of go shopping together.
Now they could have sent Abigail to do it, but if they would have waited until they got new clothes, they would have been there when Ian showed up. Luckily, Riley figured out the last word in the cipher before Ian saw him and fucked off. But Ian assumes that the child was up to something and gets the last word from him, which he finds out is related to the Liberty Bell thanks to a quick internet search.
What's happening?
It's loading.
Apparently, the next clue is going to be revealed at a specific time, so they need to hurry to Independence Hall to catch a shadow at the right time. Not sure what they were doing all day, since they made the 3-hour trip to Philly at night, and they need to catch a shadow that shows itself at almost 3:30. Plus, they would also need a rough estimate on the date too, since the shadow would be inconsistent throughout the year.
It's science.
So they all go up to the bell tower and look at the shadow, and then Ben tells them to go back to where the tourists are actually allowed. And he's going to stay in the restricted area while they potentially go raise some alarms going back down.
Ben, there's another tour coming.
In a wall, he finds some trifocals and takes them down to the signing room where they just pull out the Declaration seconds after a tour group just left. And since they've already made it lemony fresh, they really don't care about how they handle it anymore.
It's the Declaration of Independence.
And it's very delicate.
It's upside down.
They use the glasses to get the next clue, but before they can figure it out, they notice that Ian and his guys are there, so they need to separate.
You promised to bring that back in one piece, right?
Do my best.
Abigail and Riley take the Declaration, but lose it because women can't have good balance in stressful situations.
You know, they've never done this before. I'm gonna have to see a psychiatrist. I mean, a leg doctor, because obviously it's a leg problem.
And Ben gets caught by the FBI, who are staking out his dad's car. Well, Abigail and Riley see this and call Ian to let him know that Ben's currently in custody with the glasses. So Ian calls Ben, and even after Ben tells Ian he's handcuffed to a chair, these trained FBI agents are surprised that Ian knows that they're listening to the conversation.
Smart fish.
He tells them to meet him on an aircraft carrier in New York, which also happens to be the location of the next clue. But at the USS Intrepid, they have a helicopter hover over the deck, so Shaw can tell Ben the plan, but they stupidly have it fly away before he can jump in the water, so now all eyes are on him again.
Oh, come on!
And it's a good thing that Ben's a Navy diver, because he has to stay under so they can ride a torpedo thingy away from the ship.
That's where we lost the FBI.
Scuba Steve! Damn you!
And once they get to where the clue leads, Ben gets the Declaration and the pipe from Ian, but since he doesn't quite trust Ben, he reveals that he kidnapped Patrick, and then re-kidnaps Abigail and Riley.
I'm a hostage.
Now these glasses have multiple colored lenses, kind of like colonial 3D glasses. But it took Agent Sadusky fidgeting with them for Ben to realize that there's more than one way to look at the clue, which means that there's more than one clue.
You know that Benjamin Franklin invented bifocals? That's pretty cool, huh?
Take a look at this piece of crap.
Hey, easy.
I'm being very careful.
No, you're being very hokey.
I'm being careful.
Spilled ketchup on it.
They come to find out that it's a grave of a Mason buried under the church, but one of Ian's guys stupidly bashes the crypt marker before Ben can read the full thing and find out whether that had a clue on it.
Did it?
No, they're right in assuming that the passage is under the body, but the clue beneath Parkington Lane could have led to the epitaph under his name that could have been the next clue.
Don't you two read?
So after they crawl into his grave, Ben thinks that this is the ideal moment to kiss Abigail.
Is she pregnant?
I'm still working on it.
Well, I guess I better work on it too then.
Freaks.
I'm in.
Really?
They then find an old staircase room where some boards break and Shaw dies. But on his way down, Shaw broke some shit and now all the stairs they're on are breaking. Abigail's about to fall, so Ben grabs her, but the Declaration is also about to fall.
Wait. You're gonna love this.
So he throws her onto another section of stairs that could also fall with her landing on it to save a piece of paper in a protective case that would have just fallen to the bottom where they were going anyway.
I would have done exactly the same thing to you.
And once they're safe, everybody gets onto an elevator and they ride that down to an empty room. Well, it's empty except for a lantern that they say is symbolic of the Old North Church where Paul Revere saw the signal that the British were coming. So Ian leaves them there, saying that they'll still be there if they find another clue. But this is a church in downtown New York City. If somebody didn't hear all those stairs breaking, then someone's probably going to come across the disturbed grave and call the cops.
Have you no respect for the dead?
But Ian leaves, and they're like, stupid British people. They don't even know American history. See, they pulled a sneaky, cause it would have been 2 lanterns if it was a real clue.
It was fake. It was a fake clue.
And also, who would believe that the Freemasons would build a 5-story winding staircase under a church that led to a dead end?
Stupid British people.
But Ben's like, let's get out of here, cause I know how to get in the treasure room. But he opens the door, and it's just another empty room. And they're like, ah shit, somebody already took the shit.
My father would be very ashamed of me now, to come all this distance and miss my destiny by a foot.
But that's okay, because his dad finally respects him, and that's all that matters. No, I'm just kidding. The Freemasons pulled a sneaky as well, and not a single one of them thinks, wow, this is a tiny ass room for a place that's supposed to hold the biggest collection of treasure the world's ever known. And that's not what makes Ben start looking again. No. He knows that the Masons would have made a second entrance for ventilation, and that's when he finds a hole for the pipe to go in.
Oh, well, then I guess it's a good thing it didn't blow up, and that Ian just happened to give it to him as an afterthought.
I'll even throw in the pipe from the Charlotte.
So a door opens, and inside is the national treasure containing all sorts of artifacts from all over the world.
Well, why is it called the National Treasure?
Shut up! It's in America now, which makes it American treasure. It's ours like everything else that comes here that we just claim. You know, like tacos and Jesus.
You're not American?
And after they turn on the lights, on the other end of this football field-sized room of gold, the only thing Riley is happy to see is the exit. An exit that somehow circles back to 3 crypts to the right of the first one they destroyed.
That's it. It doesn't make any sense.
They have the church janitor call Agent Sadusky, and he wants him to go to jail. But Ben's like, what if we flip on the guy who's behind this whole idea? And on top of that, he's made a fortune doing all sorts of illegal shit, and he's never been caught. How does that sound? And Sadusky's like, okay. And then the FBI capture him trying to break into the Old North Church. We also find out that Ben and Abigail are now dating, and Riley is somehow pissed off that he only made $50 million out of this deal.
It's never been about the money.
So Ben talked Ian into helping him find the treasure, lied to him about it being on the boat, refused his plan of taking the Declaration, only to steal it himself, ran tests on it, didn't handle it properly, put it in danger of being destroyed, escaped FBI custody, and he gets away with $50 million.
I like the house.
And Ian's the one who has to go to jail.
Someone's got to go to prison.
I only wanted to borrow it.
I was Betsy. Put me in prison for the rest of my life. He just runs off and hides, huh?
Is there anything else you want to tell me?
Are we subscribers to this channel?
You want to be?
And I want you to have the chance to do that.
Well, you're old enough, I suppose.
I could kill a man.
No, it was cool. You should try it sometime.
See, I can do it too.
I really want it.
I volunteered.
Where's the party?
Enjoy. Go ahead.
It's not like we have our reputations to worry about.
Okay, you're let go, shoot.